At 7 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. If you'll stand for the pledge and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May be seated. Okay, roll call, please.
Bradley?
Present.
Nipko?
Here.
Thomas? Yes. Weeks?
Here.
Martin?
Yes.
Gilchrist?
Here.
Braylon?
Right.
Matheny?
Present.
First item on the agenda is approval of minutes from the May 12th, 2015 regular meeting. I will entertain a motion for approval.
I move that they be approved.
Motion by Councilman Rager.
Second.
Do I have a second? Second by Councilperson Thomas. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Under petitions and communications, public comments, is Melody Barker present? No, nothing. Okay. She had called the request. Okay. Anyone else for public comments? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I have some information I'd like to pass out to council, and I have some discussion I'd like to talk about.
What would be the topic?
The topic would be regarding a land swap between Tom Gilbert and the city parking lot.
Is Mr. Gilbert present?
Mr. Gilbert is not, but I'm speaking on his behalf also.
Well, it would be
He has
unusual
authorized-
not to have his
He has authorized
presence,
me to speak in his absence.
not to me, not to the council. I will allow you to go ahead, but I will take the information, but if he's not here or provides something to the council in writing, we have an issue.
Not a problem. Thank you.
And on whose behalf do you speak?
Holden Main Street. Sorry, what was your name? James Saunders. Okay, my name is James Saunders. I'm the Design Committee Chairman for Holden Main Street. As some of you all know, maybe all of you know, we run into an issue here several months ago when Verizon wanted to put a tower on the grassy piece of property just north of the city parking lot. It was discovered then at the courthouse that the east half of the city parking lot shows Mr. Gilbert, Gilbert's Meat Market, to be the current owner of that half. And the city owns the grassy area where the tower was supposed to go. Now, for many years, and we do have one previous owner of the meat shop here, Mr. McDaniels. For many years, the grassy area that's just north of the city parking lot was believed to be under the ownership of the property owner who owned the meat market. It's been that way apparently ever since the Katy Railroad went out. So the city has also believed that they own the entire parking lot, which they currently do not. They only own approximately half. We've done some research through Main Street, found out that in order to alleviate this situation, revert the parking lot back to the original owner, which would be the city of Holden, and revert the original property the grassy area back to the meat market would cost a total of $250 in title work. I was contacted this morning by Mr. Gilbert that said his lien holder is fine with the trading of the property. So we have a go on the lien holder, on the current property owner, and so I'm here tonight to ask the council to discuss and make a motion to trade properties with Mr. Gilbert. So the city has its entire parking lot back, which will, in the long run, serve more citizens of Holden and alleviate any future sale of the east half of the parking lot, which would not only reduce the parking to the city, but would also be a major player when it came fair time if the owner, the current owner, or a new owner of this property chose to fence it off and keep us from putting the fair on that parking lot. If that was the case, if that was fenced off, we would have no place essentially to put the fair. The fair has been there for many, many, many years, as you all know. And I think it's currently in jeopardy if that was to happen. So I'm asking the council to discuss, make a motion to pay the $250 to do the land trade, and right or wrong, it's been on the books for many years. Thank you very much.
Comments?
I personally think it would be in the best interest of the city to get our parking lot back. Because we use it for the fair, and if you look at the activities at the CAC, there's times on weekends when that whole thing is full of cars all the way to the end. And you've probably seen that because you guys are down there on the farmer's market. And once in a while that thing would be full all the way to the end. But if we suddenly were without half of our parking lot, I think that we would be in trouble. And if we could get it traded for, and something, going back to the same thing, I've talked to Gilbert a couple times on it, the same thing has happened. Like, I've never had my property surveyed in Holden. Somebody may own half my yard and I don't even know about it. You know, and that's what happened here. We thought we owned something, and Jim thought he owned something when he owned that. And I think it ought to be in good interest. And I would maybe somebody else has a different idea, but I would make a motion that, and if it takes if something in writing, that if Gilbert presents that in writing, that we go ahead and make that trade and pay the $250 fees. I put that in form of a motion.
I am a little troubled discussing this without something in writing because it's like we're talking about somebody's property and they're not here. I'm not questioning whether they want or don't want this, but I'd like to see something in writing so that we know that we are approaching it from the owner's perspective.
I would make the motion and that goes into effect when we receive that in writing, so we know where we stand on it. So I put that in form of motion.
Okay, so you have the first part of your motion would be to, what are you asking?
Okay, to pay the legal fees to trade the property. Okay. And to be in effect when we receive a written authorization from Tom Gilbert.
I don't see why you can get that, he'll just do it if he wants. I wouldn't look at gift horse in the mouth. I think it's very courteous on his part to allow the city to reclaim that.
I would second Mr.
This is
Ray's.
not on the agenda.
Yeah.
It's not on the agenda.
Right, it's on the agenda, so we'll have it on the agenda next time to address your motion. In other words, it'll become an agenda item next month, because it's not on the agenda tonight.
Does it have to be on the?
Yes,
To vote.
to
To
vote.
take action, it has to be on.
If you would like to suggest that someone from the city contact Mr. Gilbert to get his written authorization, we're not voting, we're like forming a committee to do that, so that that could come back to the council next month.
So be it.
Say we have to put it on the month, and somebody moves to do something.
I do well to talk to Mr. Tom Gilbert. I've spoken to him before.
Yeah, I'll be glad to say something to him. I'll go over and see him.
All right, I appoint Sam Raber and Jim Gilchrist to visit with Mr. Gilbert.
And Jim Hill.
I'm sorry, I didn't say.
Mr.
Mr. Raber,
Look for the beard.
Mr. Necko. Okay.
Probably the reason he's not here tonight, he fell off the ladder and broke his arm and broke his shoulder, so he's probably done. I saw him a couple of days ago, he went by the car, I stopped and asked him.
Okay, so we have a committee of two to approach Mr. Gilbert. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, I just would like to add one thing. I'd like to at least mention to the council that we do have some possibilities and community projects for the backside businesses, the alley, and that parking lot. So there's a lot of volunteer work planned to try to better what we have back there currently. So I just like to ask the council to keep that in mind.
As we try to move forward.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a committee of two to approach Mr. Gilbert and bring us back something in writing, signed by him, that more or less gives the council the go-ahead to start a discussion on the property exchange.
I'd say it's for that.
Yeah, we'd have to have an ordinance, so it's a process. Okay, any other comments from the public? All right. Holden Chamber of Commerce update. Anyone from the chamber? Seeing none. Main Street update? Seeing none.
I will.
Okay.
Currently, Main Street has purchased a water trailer. As you all notice, we've had a lot of large wire pots donated downtown to beautify downtown. And we have recently purchased a trailer with a watering tank to service all those plants. So there's no burden on the city, the street department, or anybody like that to the water flowers.
Okay, thank you. Okay, liquor consumptions. Christie Sis wedding reception. The date of June 27th from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. Motion to approve that request.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilman Clark. Okay. Do I have a second?
Sorry.
Second by Councilman Weeks. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Second request is from Kathy Pemberton, wedding reception. And that date is July 18th, from 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Do I have a motion to approve that request?
Make a motion.
Motion by Councilperson Thomas. Do I have a second? Councilman Weeks. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Year-end budget adjustments. This one? I didn't make copies or what?
I did. They got copies.
They have copies, okay. Year-end budget adjustments, you've had a chance to review these. Basically, transfer $23,000 from general fund to the transportation fund. Add account 5190, city functions, to the income as a budget line item, which was the concert income, practical income. Number 3, add account 9600, city-sponsored functions, to expenses as a budget line item. And the last one, franchise tax, 50,000 income, 7,585 from CenturyLink business license tax lawsuit. I have a motion to approve the year-end budget adjustments. Motion by,
No, I would ask
Oh,
that we
sorry.
have the account 5190 for city functions on income, as well as the 960 city-sponsored functions for expenses, reflect the actual balances of those accounts. On the sheet that we got in our council packet, it just shows the expense, it doesn't show the income side of it. So I would just ask that we update that sheet, so when we start our new budget, it'll reflect that from last year.
It's on the income sheet.
Okay, it shows a blank for city functions on that.
That's this year,
that's this year.
because
So
we
we didn't
didn't
make
have
it
it
this
the
year.
first year.
Well, I know it says that you guys approved it, but we've been tracking it since February as a line item in our budget. So I just asked that it reflect what we did in 2014 through 2015.
Well, you got in the income $14,230.
Well-
2014, 15.
They are lumped together. I would just like it to reflect the actual income versus,
Jim, isn't that
Loss.
because of fiscal year?
huh?
Isn't that because it's a fiscal year?
Right.
I don't know, it's just a question.
Well, you have a fiscal year that falls into two different calendar years. That's why.
When June 30th it ends, a new one will start July 1. And so when the year started, the reason there's nothing in the city function is because we didn't know there was going to be revenue.
Well, but we've been tracking it since February.
Well, of 2015. In 2014, when the fiscal year started, we did not have a clue that there was
Our
going to be
fiscal
revenue.
year is not over until the end of this month.
Right.
So it should reflect what we have in both of those accounts.
Which it will when we close the books on June 30th. It will say exactly the
So
revenue.
you want a balance of this year and balance of,
It's just where we're at up to this point. I subtracted the profit from the loss and came up with the two different line items. And then the total balance in those accounts as of now, we're just showing the income, we're just showing the debt, we're not reflecting the income from those accounts. And I was just noticing that on all these, you have the income, projected balance, and projected for FY 15-16. I just don't know why it's not filled out.
on the income?
Yeah,
It is.
It is. It's $14,230
which page are you on?
Income.
income.
First page.
Well, that's not what I came up with. I came up with, based off the last financial statement, of it being $13,046.50. That's why I was asking if you guys were gonna try to keep
But
the
we have
money
more
that's,
money in there now.
yeah, it's
because
already
we've
coming
been
in.
Right.
it's for this year's tractor pull, that,
It's
I don't
on this
know.
year's budget.
I mean, somewhere you have to
I
draw a
can't
line.
hold
in the
that
sand.
money until July.
I understand, I'm just a question, and I thought it was a valid one, why we can't reflect balances of each one of those line
I can
items.
make you your own report, if that's what.
We have a journal.
You don't have to make it for me, I guess I
Well,
don't
everybody
understand
wants
why
one, I can make one.
it didn't reflect on this balance sheet. That's all I'm asking. The actual balance for the concert that we had at the school, it actually shows a negative of $1,400. It's actually $1,459.68. And when we subtract out the income from the expenses on the tractor pull, we're at $3,796.22. So the total income for that line item right now is $2,336.54.
But this is the income for the whole year, not just,
So that reflects some of these donations and their sponsorships that we get this
all the
year.
income we get goes in the income city functions, and all of the expenses goes into the expense on city issues.
So you have the totals to reflect that column, 2014, 2015. We left it blank, I just didn't know why.
Well, that's because when the budget was made, there was no anticipated revenue. That's why it is blank.
Miscellaneous.
That's what the budget said. And we are now asking to add account items for revenue and for expenses, because the auditor suggested that we do that.
Right.
So the reason on your sheet that says income, that it's blank, is because in the budget, there was no anticipated revenue.
Well,
Are we talking about the same thing?
It was in, the revenue was in the other income.
yeah, well, we've been tracking it since February. So I'm
That's because we know how much revenue and how much expense there was.
You're
If
right.
you would like that sheet, then it's not a problem, we can provide that. But it's blank on here because these figures come from the budget.
Does
Not the
does
actual.
anybody else on the council? Does that concern them, or is it just me?
We will provide
I
that
think
information for you, it's not a problem, but that's what we generate on the accounting program in the office, from the budget.
Okay.
Okay,
But you looked at the proceeds, I mean,
would he get a motion?
No.
No. All right, we're still waiting on a motion for a year-end budget adjustment for 2014-15.
So did I put that in the form of a motion that we update that line item on this budget?
Well, that's out of order right now, where we've got another agenda item which says approval of year-end budget adjustments. That's
And that's.
on the floor right now.
Yeah. So did we have discussion about it?
Yes.
Did you call for discussion?
Discussion.
I guess I'm not following what you're getting at, Jim. The problem that I mean, you guys handed this to us on Friday, and some of us have to work all the time, and we have not had time to look through it all to make heads or tails of a lot of this.
We'll take as much time as is required now to make sure that everyone gets their questions answered.
Yes, the question during the budget workshop.
And no one asked a question during the budget workshop.
Because I haven't had time to look through it to understand any of it.
and year-end budget adjustments talks about adding two accounts, one for income and one for expenses.
Per the auditor request.
So the other request, as well as the transfer and the miscellaneous income from the lawsuit. And on that particular four-item document, which is item E on our agenda, I make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Clark. All in favor of the year-end budget adjustments, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item is discussion and review of fiscal year budget July 2015 to June 30th, 2016. That's the document that we previously discussed in the workshop. Any other questions or comments?
I might make a comment, and I don't even know whether it's pertinent or not, but it is to me. I think the council should have a little bit more involvement with making the budget so they understand it better. And I'm wondering if in the future, if we were to have a session and like, what is it, 3 different heads would be involved, and maybe they'd each get an hour or 45 minutes where they could talk, the council could talk to them, and you'd have the head of that department here, so that we could kind of get an idea of what they have in mind, and also get a little feel for maybe what their projections are for the future of that department. And there's quite a bit of suggest you all deal with it all the time. Get a packet on Friday night and you go through the thing and you wonder, you kind of wonder if maybe the council should have a little bit more.
Would you like to get your packets earlier? That's not a problem.
Well,
I mean, they're put together and so forth on Friday because that's traditionally been the way it's done. But that's certainly.
I think what he's saying, the council would like to be in on the process, because there's probably a lot of questions that would be asked. I can't tell you what they might be right now, but once you get into those things, there's questions that come up, and we don't have the opportunity until we get the final deal.
and there's,
Like maybe a council workshop or something.
The council gets the department workshop, budget workshop, something like that.
Maybe 2
Yeah,
or 3
maybe
weeks
the whole
beforehand, or 2 to 3 months beforehand.
When we're doing it,
and with the
they
head
come
of
in,
each,
spend half an hour making their case,
each department here.
because we just get kind of thrown this thing and
I know you work with the department, yourself.
Right, that's why you elect a mayor, is to represent the citizens and the council with the department heads when it comes to development of the budget. We can't even agree on hosting a tractor pull, let alone a budget workshop that's going to require input from 8 councilmen with a department head. I envision a circus or a zoo atmosphere. And I'm not saying that disrespectful, but for the essence of time, understanding, and why we elect a mayor, why we give the mayor the opportunity to work with the department heads, it would appear that that is a fiscally sound way to approach this. Anytime the council has concerns about a department, about a budget, I'm available. If you want to come and we discuss, you have a question,
Well, what are we elected for then, sir?
you represent your wards.
I mean,
And
should
the
be
citizens.
interested in where the money's being spent?
I think so, that's why it's presented to you in black and white.
One man's interpretation of it, I don't know that that works for me.
Well, it's not my interpretation, it's the department head, and I relay that information
Well,
to the
that's all I'm
council.
saying is that what would be wrong with us being, at least maybe the council representative being in on it, to where you had some input and some answers to questions that you may have. And you know, I can't tell you what they might be.
For police and fire, the council representative has been. I've met with both.
Special meeting.
So did they hand you a copy of their budget?
They did not. I had, well, did you give me a copy?
I did not give you an actual budget, but I have discussed numerous things with you on the budget. And future projects such as bond issue coming up, I have talked to department heads. And if I'm not mistaken, every department has had people to talk to. And I know that Larry has come to me and asked me questions, and I've answered questions for him. I don't know who's on which departments and who's asked that department head what questions.
This is why we have committees, is so those committees can visit with those department heads, have an interaction about the budget, about their projects, whatever. So we do have standing committees that have the opportunity, if they want to avail themselves of that opportunity, to visit with our department heads. This is a procedural mechanism to get to a final budget presentation. It's cumbersome, maybe from your standpoint, but it does work if the opportunity is taken advantage of.
I have done the same with the chief on the police side of it. I mean, we've discussed the budget 1,000 times. I've never actually sat down with him and went through the numbers, but I know where he needs more money than not. But I have no idea what the street department needs or fire department. So I couldn't tell you their numbers from one side to the other. But I do understand my side of it. I kind of get what you're saying. You'd like to know what that money's spent on all sides.
Well, the money is decided to be spent by the department head. So once the council approves a budget, we turn that budget over to them and allow them to expend it. It is by line item, but as I mentioned earlier, should they decide their needs change, we do allow flexibility by the department heads to work within that set dollar amount. I don't think any of us want more special meetings, more daytime meetings. If we have evening meetings, then we're asking department heads to come back. You know, I know how hard it is now to get meetings scheduled, arranged. If we're gonna add to them,
Well, when you have your meeting with them, would it be unreasonable to have the department or the council representative be there?
if they're available.
Nobody ever asked me.
Well, that's true, because we didn't know that was a problem or a concern. If I would have known prior to those discussions, you certainly would have been welcome.
I would.
Well, I think what's being asked is that in future budget discussions, can the council be made aware so that we have an opportunity to decide if we want to participate or want to?
Most certainly. Not a problem at all.
I think that's very good, Mr. Railroad.
You know, we're making ground rules, and that's fine, as long as we all know what the rules are.
Yeah, if that would be acceptable to you.
Yeah, budget development is a very transparent thing. I mean, it's held and open, it's held at City Hall here.
It's loud sometimes.
What Jim says, I think the representative, like the representatives of the street department, you talk to them, I think it's really important that those people be notified and be there.
I wouldn't disagree, and that will happen in the future, now that we know that that's the expectation.
But I do know that if I have questions on the police side, I just go to the chief and say, hey, what's this and why is this? And I ask very particular questions, and he's more than willing to go through with me. I mean, and if you had the same with him, I don't think he'd have a problem going through that with you.
Well, I don't think that that's any problem, but I think that representative or those representatives should be there.
Exactly, I understand that. And I would like to go to it if I knew what was going on.
If you're available.
Yeah.
Ordinance 21.345 states, the mayor shall make a written report to the council on or before the first day of July of each year, which report shall contain his estimate of the necessary appropriations to meet all the wants of the current year, and the estimated receipts through licenses, taxes, and other sources, and which shall also show the actual financial condition of the city. So see, the mayor is charged with that, but that does not exclude council members through their committees being involved. So once that takes place, and then it's all cut and dried, then the mayor can make a presentation to the council, which I have done tonight.
We understand. And in the future, you'll let us know.
Exactly. Appreciate the discussion and the request.
What projects is Larry gonna do this year as far as road maintenance goes? Do you have any idea?
I do, he gave, well, I don't want to speak for that, but he did give a copy, which I don't have with me, but he has designated the streets that he would prioritize within his budget requirements, or budget allocations.
Is that for asphalt or is it for?
Well, he has some asphalt estimates. They appear to be in excess of his budget. So he's going to have to further fine tune his budget to allow what he can do with the money he's got. And we did increase it, it was around 13,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, which isn't a lot in his budget, but at least we're going forward. We're projecting he's going to spend $80,000 this year. He had $100,000 budgeted, but weather dictates how much he can get done. So he doesn't buy materials too much ahead of time because he doesn't want to have them stockpiled, so to speak. But next year we're projecting we're going from 100,000 to 113,442 in materials. I do know, to answer that one question, that we are prioritizing the Eagle Drive Road and 19th Street. Those two are at the top, and then he's going to go as far as he can.
What, now, that's the Eagle Drive is the north-south, it goes on the
East-west,
That's the
in
east.
front of the school.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right.
And then 19th is down.
19th is,
That's 131. And both those are very good shape.
Have they fixed the ground pumping issue?
What-
The ground pumping issue, where
I
the
think
water
so.
sits underneath it and then the ground moves, which determines.
That's why he's been doing what he's been doing, is to address that concern and issue. And he feels that they have addressed it sufficiently. Any other questions on budget?
Are we voting on it this evening?
Yes. New fiscal year starts July 1.
I got on the council primarily for two reasons. One, all I've heard from numerous sources that we're not getting good, adequate police protection for the kind of money we're spending. And the other is that our streets are going to top and they're not getting fixed. And quite frankly, I don't know when the time to bring it up is, but I think it's time we quit doing the same old thing over and over again and maybe look for some alternative measures. Maybe there's a different way of providing police protection for the city of Holden. At least if we spend the same amount of money, we'll get good police protection. I don't know. I'd like to have a committee formed to look into some alternatives for our present system.
There's only one alternative, and that's go to the county will own it. Second alternative, it's not the police department's problem, it's above the police department's problem. It's the judges and the numerous slap on the hands. Just go to court. Before you make your judgment now, go to court.
Okay, but the question begs answering then, if that is indeed the question, why do we arrest people?
Talk to your judge.
Well, if we aren't going to arrest people, why do we need police? You know, to just simply say that to judges and prosecutors, if they're going to completely fall down on the job, us having police ain't going to make any difference in here.
Sure, but the judge is the one that sets the law there. The judge says, we do book and release. It's not these guys. It's not us. It's the judge. She signed a form saying we book
I
and release.
understand
We
exactly what
stop.
you're saying. I understand exactly. But it begs answering then, why do we have the police? If they can't do anything, they catch that guy.
Take them completely out of the scenario.
Hmm?
It would be the Wild West.
You want to wear a gun?
I can.
And I know I got members properties, and there's only three, me and my wife, and we can't protect all of our property.
A lot of people suggest we haven't got much to start with.
I suggest they.
And I don't know when the time to throw this out on the table and make a big issue of it, but,
Same old
we
crap.
pass budgets and we just keep doing the same thing over and over. Somebody said that that's the, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result is the ultimate stupidity. I don't know, maybe that's what we're playing.
like I said, before you start making accusations, I would go to court, watch the court system. That's where we need to start. It's not here. We start there, we get them to do their job, these guys can do their job a lot easier. You can go north, and you get stopped, you get arrested, you go to jail, you bond out of jail. You're already on the hook for your money. We can't do that here. It's not these guys' fault we can't do that. It's the court system's fault that we cannot do
Is
that.
that our prosecutor, or what's the reason for that?
The judge. We have to make a case to the judge to change the system. But if you're gonna do that, you better increase that, little jail fund we got there. And currently, we're sitting at, what? $4,500. It costs us, what, $38.50 a day? So they're very particular on who they send to jail. We just find a grab button. Now, go to.
So we're just caught in catch-22. Since the judge won't prosecute, we spend $450,000 a year and get stuff stolen and.
Well, if you go through that budget, we don't spend $450,000. We spend a certain amount, because a lot of the money, we get money from the school, we get a tax, or a police tax income,
County law.
county law enforcement income. A lot of the money doesn't come out of our pocket. Maybe half.
Nevertheless, that other half comes out of our pocket.
You take out one, and the other one drops significantly. You start taking police out of the problem, we're gonna have a big problem in the city.
And we don't already.
Take them completely out, we're gonna have a bigger problem.
I just, personally, from my standpoint, I think it's time we at least look at alternatives.
Go to Windsor, look at the alternative. They took out the police chief, took out the police force, brought the county in. Now I'll go there. I wouldn't even park my car there, locked.
Well, I've kind of got the same problem here.
I don't have a single issue. I haven't for a good year now. I've chased more people off your property than any of them. And that's the neighbors surrounding me that do that. Myself, my neighbor, and the new neighbor came in. We protect your property like it's ours, and vice versa. And every time I call them, they show up.
I would suggest before we do too much criticism of the police department, that each councilman schedule a ride with the police department to see what they go through on a daily basis. I think it would be eye-opening. It's very easy to sit here and criticize the police, because I get complaints too, but I also get praise for the police. They helped me do this, they did this. You know, we have situations that happen here in the city that don't really happen. I hear, well, I don't want to mention specifics, but there was an incident where I was called and I was told that this person was strong-arm robbed on the street. Come to find out, that was a made-up story. You know, our police probably are the victims of people that are not going to obey the law, are looking for an alibi or a scapegoat. Are they perfect? No. Is there room for improvement? Yes. I think in the last 2 years, I've seen improvement in our police department. Before that, I don't really care, because I look forward, not backward. If the council has recommendations, they need to make them to Doyle, who can relay them to the police department. He is a liaison with the police department. And let's see what happens. But let's be realistic. Let's be honest.
I come in the same way you did, and then I spend countless hours there, just walking through the system. I'll give you another example.
I can't see what it would hurt to look at an alternative here regardless.
I would sure hope that we would have ideas for alternatives before.
But if we
Okay,
do that,
ideas, alternatives, ways to improve the situation we have now.
but if we do that, this December, we need to keep an open mind. We need to look into alternative motives too. We need to go out and we need to do, if we're going to do it, let's do it all the way around the table, not just on the police side. And you all know what I'm talking about. It's only fair.
What's that?
Body cameras?
No, not just body camera. I said being fair across the market, I mean, we need to do fair bidding. We need to keep that rolling. So if we're gonna look at alternative motives for the police department, we need to do the same for the other
Well,
department.
that's the one that rubs me backwards. Police department.
Any other comments?
Do you have any alternatives?
Well, I talked to the sheriff, see what he'd do. I've been reading online, and there's people hiring private security companies to do the police work for them. You know, we're spending a lot of money and not getting very much, in my opinion. And I think it certainly wouldn't hurt to look into alternatives.
You need to
And maybe out of that would come a deal that we start trying to put some pressure on a judge. I don't know how you do that.
That's exactly where it is.
But nevertheless, what would it hurt to look into alternatives and suggestions to make it better?
But if we look at that, we just need to make it fair across the board, that's all I ask.
Well, let's take one at a time, partner. I mean, wouldn't that be fair enough? I can't handle all of them at once.
That's always seems to be the issue, getting crammed down our throat.
Pardon me?
Said that's always the issue, we get this stuff crammed down our throat too fast. So, yeah, we can do 1 month or a couple months at it. But we need to have a lawyer stand there with us, because there's a lot of legal bounds when you're going to take the policing side of it, more than we do the other side of it.
I'd make a motion that we appoint a committee to look into alternatives and suggestions to improve our police situation.
It's not on the agenda, therefore I can't honor your motion. See me before the next council meeting, we'll put it on the agenda.
To form a committee, you did a while ago, sir.
Well, informal. I was directing them to go. I called them a committee, but I'm just directing them to go. Any other comments on the fiscal year 2016 budget proposal? Seeing none, I would call for a motion to approve.
I make that motion.
Motion by Councilman Harkin to approve the fiscal year 2016 budget.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Weeks. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
1 no. Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is approval of Holden Board of Public Works 2015-16 budget. Any comments?
Why does the council have to approve the DPW budget?
The Board of Public Works is an executive branch of the city council. We are ultimately responsible, just like item number, or under ordinances, we have ordinances that deal with the Board of Public Works, which we must approve. We are the oversight to the Board of Public Works. I have one comment. I don't know, we do have the Board of Public Works chairman here tonight. A year ago, when the council looked at the Board of Public Works budget, we had a grant line item of revenue and expense. The council did not approve the budget because the grant had not been received, so we sent the budget back to the Board of Public Works. This year, as I look at the submitted proposed budget, I see that there is not a line item for revenue or expense of the grant. If I miss it, I apologize. But I know for a fact that we've been given the grant. We're ready to sign a lease purchase. And I see nothing in the budget. I need help.
You
Yes,
have
ma'am.
not signed it, it's on your agenda to sign tonight.
The budget, I'm talking about the budget. the fiscal year 16 budget that has been approved by the Board of Public Works.
You should have the ordinance that will authorize us to move forward with that. It's on your agenda, right?
We have on the agenda to approve the Board of Public Works.
Bingo, thank you, yes, thank God. Okay, that will move things forward. We can't say that we're going to do that without, y'all have to approve the ordinance before we can move forward with that. The contract, we have to get,
That's not.
we got the grants, we have to get the other half of the funding in order to move forward.
So there will be a line item, an amendment to the existing
Yes,
budget.
yes, absolutely.
Okay, please make note of that in the minutes, that there will be an amendment to the submitted budget, which will clarify the expenditures and the revenue for the grant and the lease purchase agreement. Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion for approval of BPW 2015-16 budget.
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Becker. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Parkin. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item is appointment of Board of Public Works member Al West to the Board of Public Works, and he is in the audience tonight. Wave your hand. Most of you know Al.
I would move that he be appointed.
Motion by Councilman Rayburn. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Councilman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item, liquor license renewals. We can do these as a group unless someone needs to separate one out.
We might congratulate Mr. West.
We'll leave that to you. Since you've already said it.
Condolences to it.
All right.
Number 6.
That,
They're closed,
they're closed.
but I still have to send them out.
MFA, Yost Brothers, Casey's, Cowboy Inn, Home Package, Stumble Inn, and Endale Amigo.
On the way.
On the way. Excuse my
Stumble
Spanish.
in is closed.
Your Spanish is beyond your skin.
I'll take that as a compliment. Okay, is there a motion to approve their annual liquor license renewal for those 7?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Angie. And second by Weeks. We have a first and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Under ordinances and resolutions, bill number 050615, an ordinance of the city of Holden amending Chapter 50, alcoholic beverages relating to the provisions for defining issuance of license and regulations with regard to establishments obtaining a license for microbrewery within the corporate city limits. This will be the first reading. Any discussion?
You been in contact with them lately?
No.
Do they know we're amending our ordinance?
Yes.
They still want to come here?
Yes.
I'm good with that.
I'll believe it when I see the steam coming over that brewery, 10,000 barrels. That'd be good, yeah.
Make a motion for approval?
Second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Rayburn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Bill number 0507-15, an ordinance adopting the annual operating budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2015 for the city of Holden. This will be first and second reading. This is first reading. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Motion by Councilman Clark. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Thomas. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Second reading, bill number 0507-15, an ordinance adopting the annual operating budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2015 for the city of Holden, Missouri. Second reading. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Motion by Councilman Parkin.
Second.
Second by Weeks. All in favor say, roll call, sorry.
Bradley,
Yeah.
Nipko,
Yes.
Thomas. Yes. Weeks,
Yes.
Parkin,
Yes.
Gilchrist. No. Rayburn,
I'm gonna go no.
McDaniel.
Yes.
Motion carried. Next item on the agenda, resolution number R2-15. Whoops, I forgot one. Going back up. Bill number 0508-15, an ordinance authorizing the city of Holden to enter into a lease purchase transaction to finance certain improvements, adopting a tax-exempt finance compliance procedure, and authorizing and approving certain documents and other actions in connection therefore therewith. This will be first reading of 0508-15. Any discussion? Do I have a motion to approve ordinance 0508-15? Motion by Councilman Corkin.
I'll second it.
Second by Councilman Bradley. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Second reading. Bill number 0508-15, an ordinance authorizing the city of Holden to enter into a lease purchase transaction to finance certain improvements, adopting a tax-exempt finance compliance procedure, and authorizing and approving certain documents and other actions in connection therewith. Second reading, a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve Bill 0508-15.
Motion by Councilman Daniels. Second?
Second.
Second by Reagan. Roll call?
Bradley,
Yes.
Nipko,
Yes.
Thomas. Yes. Weeks,
Yes.
Parkin,
Yes.
Gilchrist,
Yes.
Rayburn,
Yes.
McDaniel.
Yes.
Now, resolution number R2-15, the Open Meetings and Records Law. Our city attorney has provided this for us as a guideline. We heard from the Attorney General last month. Now we've got a resolution. It requires only a simple majority vote. Any questions?
So that's the city policy that we,
This will be our city policy, yes.
I thought we had one.
We have one, but it's outdated, way outdated.
The Attorney General's office suggested we update.
Yeah, I heard what we did.
This will replace the current.
I thought they said they could do it in a page and a half.
Theirs was, our attorney.
Theirs
If
was.
you read that, I
It
mean,
was a lawyer that said
that could have been done in
Theirs was.
He wasn't
a page
lawyer.
and a half.
Wordy.
This one's more inclusive, more specific guidelines for the mayor, the council.
Who wrote this? Did our attorney write this?
He provided it to us, yes.
I didn't see anything in it that I really disagreed with.
pretty thorough.
Yeah, pretty complete. And I think in that cover letter, there's a little rationale too, like what is that?
Yes.
But we have to have this.
We should update our current policy, and this is the one that our attorney has provided. It expands on the Attorney General's guideline and is quite in-depth. If this doesn't cover it, nothing will.
Well, this is pretty much a rewrite of the state statute.
Yes.
It's almost word for word, most of it. I move, that's a motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Rader to approve.
I second it.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Reports of committees and all the business. I'm going to go first, give me time to think. Didn't have a mayor comment section, but I've got one comment. The Medford Methodist Church wants to have a fish fry in the downtown city park.
They want a liquor license?
No.
Just fishing.
I'll pass that word on to them.
Yeah, we could tell them to ask.
We've not ever had that kind of activity there. We've had years ago an ice cream social, but they have agreed to fry their fish off of the river area. So there'll just be tables and chairs for eating on the bricks. And they are respectful of the area, knowing that it's kind of a special place. But there's no other place in the city of Holden this weekend to have that activity. There's a lot going on.
Let me interject, I was at the church program they had last night at Medford, and they mentioned they had about 90 pounds of fish. It was not their intention to feed everybody in Holden, but to provide a place for.
Is it a moneymaker or is it a social thing?
It's a social
Money maker.
It's a social money maker, I guess. They're not charging that I know of, it's just donations. But they'll have music there.
And when is that, this weekend?
Saturday, 13th.
13. I know you got your school reunion and all that stuff.
There's a lot going on.
So there's nothing going on out there, is there? It's the park.
Yeah,
Yes.
Saddle Club.
Saddle Club.
The Saddle Club's having a rain date and makeup activity. And
Spinners and weavers.
Spinners and weavers are having something at the shelter park.
So,
we got all,
do they get along or, I mean?
question?
Did anybody mention the city lake with our picnic shelter out there? Is that too far outside of
Yeah,
town?
nobody wants to go out there.
They want inside the city.
But I'd say, but they want one shelter, is that right?
The Spinners and Weavers, the,
Two shelters.
I mean,
That whole
Medford just want to use the park.
Just want to use the park.
downtown park,
They just want to use
The
the
Spinners and Weavers just gonna use
got two shelters.
the one shelter. Well, I'd say if nobody else had it, go ahead and let them use it, I mean, but they want.
They want all of it.
okay.
Oh,
We don't need to vote, I just, wanted to run it by the council.
But
Unusual to
I'd
have
say
it
that
downtown.
if somebody else has it already, the only thing they can use is what's left over.
What were we talking about?
Downtown park.
They should go.
Commercial galleys.
Okay, I disregard anything.
I don't remember no shelter.
Okay, I hear a yes. Okay,
Yeah, but
we'll start with Councilman McDaniels. Any questions, comments?
On the park,
Committee report.
on the park board or on the buildings, I have neither. I would like to get a meeting scheduled with the park board. Dwight Ensign is the chair on that. I just have not been able to get that done. Put that in the paper that I'll be calling Dwight and see if we can schedule a meeting. I would like to add, if I can, when we had the Moving Forward program down here last Sunday, that was a good program, good turnout. Good article in the paper, and from that subcommittee where we broke off, I went to the committee, which is Preserve Neighborhoods and New Housing. There's 5 or 6 people on it. Since I was a council member, they asked me to be the liaison to the council. I think it'll be more like a subcommittee to the planning and zoning committee, which Deb Cheney, who is the chair of that committee, is on this committee. And we've already had a meeting since Sunday. We had a meeting Monday. And one of the questions that they had, a request, would it be possible for the city to get a bigger map blowed up down here like we used to have? It shows the R2, R3, the zones.
We have a big map.
Is it where people can walk in and just see it?
How big is it? How
Because
big is it?
it's big, it's in your office, because it's been torn up for road on.
Yeah. And then part of our mission
You have a
is,
place that you want to put it,
yeah,
that
well,
you could,
We can get a copy of it. Is it the one sheet or?
no, it's a great big map.
Yeah, we can get copies of it.